everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. More and more often I get people asking me to tell my story. So here we come. This whole episode will be about me. I was born on January 2nd, 1992 in Chelyabinsk in Russia. My family was very wealthy and I got to go to the best school in the city and travel the world up until I was around 10, which was when my dad lost all his business. Also around that time was the time where my dad started drinking a lot, and that set my life to the before and after kind of thing. Growing up, I was very ashamed of my family because I could never do like sleepovers at my house, and I could never bring people over because I was always thinking that my dad will do something stupid because he would get very aggressive and he would be drunk. When I opened up a little bit about it on TikTok, I noticed that there were a lot of people that have been going through the same thing when they were kids, or even going through something similar right now. So I hope my story helps somebody. Back to me. When I was in high school, I've always wanted to be a journalist. Ever since I think I was like 5 or 6 years old, to travel the world and write about all these things and shoot these cool videos and do news and stuff like this. Around 14, me and my dad started to have a lot of fights, and at some point it got very physical. That's where I'm supposed to start crying. My dad was a control freak. He would always not let me do the things I wanted to do, and it would always have to be the way he wants it to be. I always call my mom my number one supporter. She was the one who insisted that I go to study abroad. I looked at different options. I looked at England, at the US, and eventually we picked Canada because it had an easier immigration process. My family didn't have much money. They gathered whatever they could to basically pay for my first year in school in Canada, and that's how I ended up in Toronto. I didn't know any English, and it was very, very scary for me to be in the city knowing nobody at all. I think I got lost the very first week. I haven't spoken to my dad in maybe a year and a half because he really didn't want me to move, and his idea of my life was completely different. He wanted me to get married and live in Russia. I graduated from college and it was time for me to decide what I want to take in the university. I was now working 2 jobs. As I said, I've always wanted to be a journalist, but I realized that my English is so poor that I can't really do that. I moved to Vancouver because simply I liked the weather here more. I got in a relationship. Those were bad. That was my very first adult experience. It was just really not working out because we both were very young and we both didn't know how to handle things properly. We ended up breaking up and it was really bad, and I couldn't go to school. I felt very depressed and I didn't know what to do. I was talking to my mom on the phone and I was telling her how cold it is here, and she laughed and she said, "Oh, you need valenki." And valenki were those super warm wool felted footwear that was originated in Siberia. So as a joke, I asked her to send me a pair, and when she sent me a pair, I decided to start my own business and import those shoes from Russia to Canada. I was always scared to do things on my own, so I decided to bring in a partner, and I had this friend of mine who was living with me. My favorite TV show at that time was Dragon's Den, and so I told her, why don't we go to the audition? She said, well, we don't have any business really, we're not selling, we just have like some samples. I'm like, well, we have a great story, so why don't we try? And we went to the auditions that were in Vancouver, I think a week after I brought up the idea. We were so scared. I hated to present in public and we knew nothing about business, but we got accepted. Now, mind you, at that time, I worked for Domino's Pizza as a manager. Worst pizza out there. I'm sorry, Domino's. I hated that job and I really, really, truly couldn't wait to quit it. We went to Toronto and we filmed for this TV show, and it was a very touching episode. Sales, we didn't have any business plan, nothing. But we went there and we were very natural and we said, well, look, this is what we have. These are samples. They're great shoes. And we're students from Russia. We had really broken English. They kind of fell in love with us. There were 5 richest people of Canada sitting and looking at us, 18 or 19-year-old girls trying to become entrepreneurs. So of course we didn't get any investment. The Dragons gave us contacts to start the business and get it going. Back to Vancouver, and we didn't know what to do and what's next. The website was down because we didn't pay for it, because obviously we were so broke. And the episode of the TV show aired. I can't even describe to you what it felt like, because my phone immediately got hot from phone calls. People started going crazy for the shoes and they wanted them. And right away we found an investor who actually gave us more money than we originally asked for. Kept that business for about 3 years, and one of the amazing memories that I think I will never forget is how we decided to get contracts from all different stores to distribute these shoes. So we sat in my car. I was the driver and Alina didn't know how to drive back then, and she didn't even have driver's license. And we drove to Alaska. It was a 33-day trip. I started a dog daycare, and then I had yoga mats business. And my God, I think I started over 10 different businesses that I failed. I got a job at BMW, that was 4 years ago. I was feeling like that job is just like eating me from inside, and I got into drinking, so I would get drunk every single day. I would go to a bar or drink at home. That brought me to another abusive relationship with a narcissist. This was the second time in my life when I met a narcissist. And I again just suffered and suffered and suffered, but thankfully at that time I was strong enough mentally, physically, financially that I said, no, that's not gonna happen to me again. And I called it quits and I left this relationship. August last year, I was sitting with my coworkers and somebody said something about how I still have a strong Russian accent even after living here for like 14 years now. I started speaking with a very, very strong Russian accent to emphasize it. Everybody laughed. I'll try making some comedy because it's creative and I always enjoyed making jokes and, you know, being funny and making people laugh. And so that was the time when I registered on TikTok. Before I was leaving for work, I recorded it early in the morning and I uploaded it on TikTok, and I only had, I think, like 20 followers or something. And I said, we'll see if some of these 20 people like it, maybe other people will like it. And what happened was, that was, I think, Saturday. I was at work and I opened up my phone and I realized that over 3 million people watched that video. All I wanted is to spend more time with my dog. So I quit. And I will tell you right now, I have never been happier in my life. So if you're thinking of quitting your job or whatever you do, quitting your relationship, and it seems hard, it seems like very difficult and different because you've been doing this for so long, I am telling you, if you are having thoughts of quitting, do it, because if you're not there with your entire mind and entire heart, you are never going to be successful. When I quit my job, I wasn't sure if that's a right thing to do because I would get criticized from so many people. My previous boss told me, listen, you will never make it in social media and you will never make money off it. Every day I start with telling myself how happy I am and how lucky I am to be doing what I love. And when I receive messages from people that say how much my videos help them and how I helped them go through tough and hard times in their lives, or some girls that message me saying that my videos helped them to end relationship with an abuser, I realized that what I do is totally worth it and I'm on the right path.